Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, a partner showcase without Mario or Donkey Kong. Don't they know it's Mario versus Donkey Kong month? It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I'm always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. Always a good day when
yes.
there's a Nintendo Direct or partner showcase or...
Yes. I will agree that it is always a good day. That makes the day better.
It makes the day better.
Yes.
For sure, yeah.
I don't know if you... And look, we're not doing weather reports anymore. That's not part of the show structure.
No.
But were you woken up last night by the heavy rains in Los Angeles?
No.
It was so loud in my neighborhood. It was one of those, like, you ever have this experience where, like, it's raining and you're like, wow, it's really, like, you can hear it and you're like, that's really, it's really coming down out there. And then, like, it gets louder and louder and you're like, surely it can't get any louder than it already has. And then it does.
Oh, geez. No, I guess in my neighborhood, we did not experience that. Or I just slept through it.
You may have slept through it. It also could be a matter of neighborhoods. I got that river right there. So, like, I think it's possible I was hearing
A river runs through it.
A river runs through it. Comma my neighborhood. So maybe that's what I was like hearing / experiencing. But like 2 o'clock in the morning, it was just like,
oh my gosh,
wake up.
Yeah, that would be unnerving.
Yeah, and so then I was like, I checked the alarm on my phone. It was still set for like 5 minutes to 6, so I could watch this direct this morning. And then when I eventually fell back asleep, like an hour and a half later, I was like, no, I'm not going to wake up to my alarm. That's nonsense. It's a video on demand. You don't need to watch a video on demand the second it posts, right?
I mean, of course, there is a partner showcase that we're going to talk about, but that does not make it any less Mario versus Donkey Kong month.
Oh, banana.
And I don't have one yet, but I'm working on it.
All right. I trust you. You don't have a ton of opportunities left.
Well, luckily, this Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase extends Mario versus Donkey Kong month another week. So it's
now that is interesting.
So it's a blessing in that way as well.
Were you saying that we are still doing all 5 episodes of Mario versus Donkey Kong month? This is just us adding one into the middle.
Exactly. So okay. Mario versus Donkey Kong month.
Do I need to retract my catchphrase?
No. Wait, why would you?
Like, just because I said it in this episode, and this is not.
No, but I'm saying
this is canonically part of Mario.
I believe that this is canonically part of Mario versus Donkey Kong month. We just won't title it that,
sure,
because that would be super confusing.
That would be very confusing, and also discoverability is hard on podcast platforms. Let's put Partner Showcase in the title of the episode. Mark, if people would like to not have to worry about discovering us, but just supporting us directly, they can do so at patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are supporting us at the 8-bit or 16-bit levels, you can get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries that we put out. We are currently making our way through NCS Arcade.
That's right, where we're playing games on Nintendo Switch Online and Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack that we've never beaten before. In last month was The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance,
which we both beat
and had a lot of fun talking about. And for February, we are playing and going to be talking about the Nintendo 64 game Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah. And will we have as fun a conversation about that game? Probably.
Yeah, the conversation is going to be
Conversation's going to be popping off, yeah.
Yes, but of course, Patrick and I are experiencing Jet Force Gemini for the first time in the year of our Lord 2024, and we would love to know your feelings, impressions,
yes,
memories of playing this previously, if you have those.
Right. You should email those to us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. The Discord is a fine place to discuss those things, but that's tough for us to collate that from the Discord to use in the episode. But if you email us, we will make sure to read and address your email in the ep itself. you need not be a patron to send us an email about it. It would help us out. Speaking of the Discord, if you would like to be in the Discord, all you gotta do is send us an email, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and I will send you an invitation to the Discord, and you can be talking about these presentations and NCS Arcade and whatever's going on in the world of Nintendo to your heart's content. Mark, as we are recording this, the first issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles source book is out in comic book stores now. You can buy it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
It's a thing that I wrote that you can go to a store and buy. So if you are interested in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, check that out. All right, Mark, we've got a partner showcase to discuss. So let us stop screwing around and do it. 25-ish minutes, right? And we saw a lot of games here. Some sort of like skirting what exactly like partner means. There were a couple things in here that I'm like, that's borderline first party. But
you thought that might be the case,
I
right?
thought that might be the case, yes.
In the way that it was announced, it was like partner publishers and developers or something like that.
Yes, development and is publishing and development partners. So yes, it could be games that are published by Nintendo but just being developed by someone else.
Which I think we saw a couple of those.
You know, I'm not sure.
One.
I
think
Endless Ocean.
Spoiler, but I think the other Endless Ocean games were published by Nintendo, and they were developed by Arika, our friends from Tetris 99. And so it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, but I haven't seen like anything that's
I haven't clocked that either. I guess if Nintendo publishes it, I have to buy it this year.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So, I will have to pay extra close attention. Although, like, there was a little while where they're publishing those Square Enix games. I would have to buy those too, right?
I would have
to. Yeah. I can't. Even if it's like Dragon Quest Builders, where it's like like it was released somewhere else originally, and then
you better pray that doesn't happen, because yes, you would have to pay for that.
Square Enix actually not present in this showcase, which I find very interesting.
Yes, especially because last year they couldn't release enough Nintendo Switch games.
They kept putting games out. Oh, and like Square Enix be putting out games, right?
They do.
But I guess they've got like the biggest Final Fantasy game in the world coming out next week.
Yeah, that's true.
Not on Nintendo platforms, but actually just on PlayStation 5 specifically.
Well, and like we talked about a few weeks ago, Square Enix is recalibrating to not be releasing so many of those like middle tier games that had been on the Switch the last couple of years.
No more Chocobo GP Dash. No more of that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No more Theatrhythm for like the 8th time, right?
I do wonder if that means the end of Theatrhythm. Yeah, maybe.
You can say it the way you want to say it. You can say Theater Rhythm if you want. I could tell that you were fighting it.
No, I was just, I really was grappling with, I hadn't considered the fact that series might just be over.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But that's not what we're here to
That's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the showcase that posted at 6 o'clock this morning Pacific time. And first things first, before we talk about any games at all, there was a new opening graphics package.
I did not clock this.
I did not either, but there was a scuttlebutt in the Discord and on social media that it has changed. And this is the first time that like it has changed in the Switch era. There was a different like graphics package for the Wii U era, Wii U/3DS era. There is now, or there had been for a long time, the Switch graphics package, and now there is something a little bit different.
What more confirmation do you need that a new Nintendo hardware is coming this year?
I think confirmation was that's the more confirmation that we need. But yeah, it certainly suggests that we are we're past due for the announcement.
One other thing that I want to talk about before we start talking about the individual games is when they announced that it was going to be a partner showcase, or when there were rumors that it was going to be a partner showcase, it felt like there were two paths that this partner showcase could take. There was the one we all feared, which was the 2020 partner showcases. And then there was the June 2022 partner showcase that I feel like is a really good analog to this one.
Sure.
Where it felt like a Nintendo Direct with a couple of first party pieces missing.
Yes.
You know, like if you added a trailer for a new game, maybe catching up on a game we already know about, and throw a couple of surprises in there, then like couple of little things, then you would have like a full Nintendo Direct.
And you wouldn't even clock it as like, hey, there's not a lot of first party stuff here. Yeah, if we got a new Princess Peach Showtime trailer last week. Yeah. That showed off like the additional transformations. If that had been in here, and if they shadow dropped Side Order, the Splatoon DLC,
which is coming out tomorrow
anyway, and then like checked in on Thousand Year Door or something, and just called this a Nintendo Direct, I honestly don't think people would have noticed. Like I think they would have just been like, it's a Nintendo Direct.
I mean, maybe So I feel like I understand why they didn't do that, because I think people would have been disappointed in it.
Sure.
Because it didn't have really it wouldn't, in that case, it wouldn't have had anything big and new. But we've probably had worse Nintendo Directs.
Yeah, no, I think that is definitely true. I can't say that I got like super excited by this Direct.
It definitely feels like everybody, and maybe this has just been going on for years now. And I know, seriously, because as I'm about to say this, I'm like going through the Rolodex of things that are, and I'm like, well, okay, Aspire's been putting out a bunch of Star Wars remasters for a long time. Like, that's just kind of the thing they do. And so maybe it's not like that different, but I think I'm more on high alert because Nintendo has transitioned into, we're doing a bunch of remasters, and here's like games from our past that
so seeing that back from other companies, it just starts to feel like it
just feels like we're like, everybody is just in general agreement that we're at the end of the Switch's life, right?
Yes,
that's what it feels like.
And what's interesting is like, even so, the first game that is announced here, and this is sort of illustrative of the point I'm about to make. So let's talk about it. Is Grounded, one of the games that was originally exclusive to Xbox. It's one of the multiplayer games. We've now had all 4 games that were rumored be confirmed as coming to other platforms: Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Grounded, and Sea of Thieves. Although not all to all platforms, seemingly. But so the first game that kicks off the Direct here is Grounded. We get to see, they talk about the like multiplayer sort of like survival aspect of it. But just in showing off like they're not screenshots, it's actual footage from the game. It looked kind of crummy.
It did look kind of crummy.
Like if this is how Xbox is going to bring games to Nintendo Switch, I'm almost like, why bother? Like, who's going to log in on their Switch to play Grounded looking bad?
Probably the millions of people who just own Switches.
Maybe
is probably like the target
audience. That's the hope, right? I'm sure. Yeah.
Especially because it has like cross-play and everything. Mm-hmm. So it seems fully featured from what we can tell. It will be, and so maybe they're prioritizing performance over graphics, and I guess
which you would need to for there to be parity online in crossplay,
right? But no, I agreed. It did not look amazing.
It's just like, that's one of those things where when a game is developed for Switch, then it can look good. If a game is not developed for Switch but then goes to Switch anyway, pretty high likelihood it's going to look bad.
Yeah.
And I think we're just seeing that in Grounded.
I think if I own an Xbox, I would want to play this game. I've always thought this game looked cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll pick it up on Switch.
I've got no desire to play it on Switch.
But I think it's cool. When there was a partner showcase rumored for last week and it didn't happen, there was some speculation that Nintendo delayed it so Microsoft could have their little podcast shindig beforehand. I feel like that's a pretty good theory, seeing that like this kicked off the partner showcase.
It's a pretty good theory, but it's also one where I'm like, but didn't it seem like Microsoft was like rushing to get that podcast out?
Yes.
So But so they shortened their timeline because all these rumors got out to put out this podcast. So Nintendo had to delay. Like,
Well,
do you know what I'm like? Obviously, there are a lot of like announcements that are contingent on other announcements being made. So I'm sure it's just a case of like timelines are in flux always. But it seems funny to me that like something had to happen sooner, so something else was delayed.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's plausible because
Or did Nintendo not plan to have Grounded or Pentiment in this thing, and it was only in the last week that Microsoft was like,
I don't know.
"Go ahead."
That feels less likely to me because we also have a big like
we do have a
it's
big
like
yeah.
it's like rareware,
Yes.
you know, and all these rare games. I think Nintendo and Microsoft have a cordial working relationship.
Yes.
The handshake being rare,
Mhm.
and so it would not surprise me if Microsoft was like, hey, can you just delay this for a week so we can put our little video podcast thing out there
Yeah.
and have this covered? And we won't announce what games are, like we won't name the games.
Right, you
because-
still get to name the games.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. It's so weird that they're like, no, it's we won't announce the games because that's for the developers to do. And it's like, what? You're the developer. What are you talking about? You own them. But no. It's because they already had an agreement with Nintendo to reveal them.
For like the mark. Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? But I just thought that was interesting that it started with Grounded.
Yes. So after, and we're both kind of like, cute looking game, but I don't know if
I don't think I'll play
I'm
it
not
on
gonna
Switch.
play it on Switch.
But
right.
it comes out in April, like soon.
Soon, yes.
April 18th.
16th, no.
Oh, 16th. Yeah.
Next up is Ender Magnolia: Bloom in the Mist, which is one of these game titles that could be about anything from the title.
Do you? I mean, I feel like yeah. No, that's true. No,
Well, what does it mean?
I was
Ender Magnolia?
This is one of those games that, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, because I have absolutely not played like the first game in this series or anything.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've heard of this. Like, I know. I was like, is this an anime? Like, what is going on? Why do I know this name?
Yeah, and it's just
I'm
because like we've seen the first game in like a different showcase. Yeah, so this is another game in this series, and it's a side-scrolling platforming action game where like the world has been destroyed and there are homunculi around.
Ooh, that was a fun word to show up in this partner showcase.
Yeah, it's normally only in a Bayonetta game that we get to hear about homunculi. But I'm glad that it's back here. Really, when else are you talking about homunculi?
You're really not.
You really are not. You can defeat homunculi and then they travel with you. So that's fun. Game comes out sometime this year. We don't really know. Don't know when.
Up next was a Ranger, a role puzzling adventure.
Okay, a mouthful and too clever for its own good, but a ranger as like you are arranging something, but also like a ranger.
Yeah, no,
as an RPG class.
It is good.
I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Comes out this summer, and everything moves when you move. It looks it looks like it would drive me crazy to play, but it looks cool.
I'm fascinated by the drive me crazy because I feel the same way that like in playing a ranger that it will make me lose my mind and that I'll want to do stuff that I won't be able to do in a very like necrodancer kind of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not like to the beat or whatever, maybe it'll be fun. They pointed out handcrafted dungeons, which puts me at ease a little bit because it sure looks like a game that could be procedurally generated. But the fact that it's like designed puzzles to get through this sort of thing where you're like sliding pieces around a board. I am interested in this game. I would like to play a ranger. Next up, we got Unicorn Overlord coming out March 8th. We've seen this game in previous directs. This is coming from Atlas and Vanillaware. This is the first of the Sega games that we're going to see on this list, which is very cool. A demo is available now. Unicorn Overlord still looks good.
Up next was Monster Hunter Stories HD. So this is the first Monster Hunter game,
Yes, Monster Hunter Stories game.
Monster Hunter Stories game that was originally released on the 3DS.
Let's make note of that. This is our first appearance of a 3DS game in the Direct.
And is now being remade for Switch and releases summer 2024.
And the previous Monster Hunter Stories game came out in 2021, so just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And that was like alongside Monster Hunter. What was the one on
Rise?
Rise, that's right. And I remember like messing around with that demo, and I played the demo of this game and liked it okay, but it just like, I don't know. When it comes to playing, like long JRPGs, I'm gonna like stick to the brands I know or the things that feel like exciting to me. And like a chibified version of Monster Hunter is like just too many layers of abstract to me that I am not able to actually like commit to these things.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of interest in this game either, but I guess surprise is maybe overselling my reaction to seeing this. I guess I was just like, oh, that's really interesting that this game is
It's odd,
coming
right?
to Switch and that it's coming now.
Yes. I mean, yeah, sure. I get why not 4 years ago, or something like that. Yeah, no, it feels like a strange choice. Did Monster Hunter Stories 2 sell well enough on Switch that they were like, we got to get another one of these out the door?
It must have done well enough.
Next up, a genuine surprise for me.
Never in a million years expected to see a revival of Epic Mickey.
Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed is coming out sometime this year. Rebrushed. What are we doing there?
Yeah, not the best.
Not the best.
But better than another remastered or like
is
HD.
It?
I think so.
Okay.
It paints a picture.
No, all right. You settle down.
No, I don't apologize.
Disney Epic Mickey, when it was originally announced many years ago on the Wii, was on the E3 stage, right? Like the Nintendo rolled out the red carpet for this thing, and it is a game that I have, Mark, never played.
Really?
Yeah.
So I let's see it comes from gaming pedigree, right? It's like is it Will Spector? Is that the name of the?
It's something Spector for sure. I'm looking it up.
The developer, and this was during one of Disney's they have gone back and forth historically over we're all in on gaming, and so they have a bunch of developers in house, and this was during one of those moments.
War Inspector,
thank you. And so it was like a full court press for this, and the concept art for it was really cool. And then the game that actually came out was, I would honestly say mediocre. So but I also was in my 20s when this game came out, right?
Yeah.
And so when they in this announcement, they kind of promote it as the classic game, and that kind of
did that hurt you a little bit?
It didn't hurt me, but I did I was like, oh, that's interesting. Is Epic Mickey a classic? But then I realized, again, I was 20 when this came out, and this game sold really well.
Yeah.
So I imagine, and it's been close to 15 years or something, I imagine that there probably are a lot of kids who grew up with this game. And for them, I guess in my head, I was trying to do the exercise of well, what is a mediocre game that I grew up with, but I loved because it's what I had and I played a ton of it.
Right.
And I feel like that's probably Epic Mickey for a lot of people.
Right. And, for me, it was Star Tropics, right?
Right.
The original Epic Mickey came out in 2010. So, yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
2010. Yes, you're right.
Is that not what I said?
No. It is what you said.
Okay, great. Yeah, so like you say, basically 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very I don't know. It feels like it's coming out of nowhere. A remake of this.
I know and it's also interesting to me that it's coming from THQ Nordic.
Yes.
Is it? Yeah.
Like why do they have?
How do they get the? Yes.
I mean, because they just like bought a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Is probably how they snatched that up. This is being touted as a faithful remake, so like we shouldn't expect it to have like added content or anything like that. It does look quite a bit nicer than the original Wii release. I saw a couple like comparison videos today. So like the game looks good.
I guess where I'm torn is, you're saying like, oh, I've never played it before.
Right.
I don't know that I'd recommend it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll probably pick it up because I'm curious to revisit it and if it is as kind of mid as I remember it being.
Right.
So I don't know.
There was a second one of these, right?
There was a second one. So the first game was a Wii exclusive.
Yes.
And then the second one was multi-platform. And kind of like Octopath Traveler, when the first one hit, it had like a lot of attention. And then the second one went multi-platform and everyone was just kind of like, cool. I don't know how the second one is. I never bought it. I've never played it.
Well, and like that trajectory makes a lot of sense if the game is, as you say, mid. That like it was all promise before it came out, and then had to actually deliver. So that by the second one, you already know what it is. It's not a mystery.
Yeah, that's true. I do think the difference between the concept art, what the concept art was selling,
right,
and what the finished product turned out to be.
Well, and maybe we can speak a little bit about that because, like, I don't know that, like, I remember back in the day in 2010 when the game was on the E3 stage, them really digging into the idea that like this is Mickey like traveling through the like past of Disney animation, right? I would say that this trailer didn't do anything to like sell people on what the concept of Disney Epic Mickey is. Was kind of just like it's that game you remember and it's back.
Yeah, and like the concept art, the original like concept art for it was really moody.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything was really inky and like Mickey's on top of like Monstro the whale and they're like sailing towards this kind of like dark Magic Kingdom type thing. And I think that was just not, one, probably like graphically achievable on the Wii,
right?
And two, never got through Disney's higher ups, which are like, you can't do that to Mickey,
right?
Like that's not the universe that we're selling.
No, Mickey's got to be fun. He can't be grimdark. This isn't Kingdom Hearts.
Exactly. Mickey, bald space marine.
Oh, that would be cool though. Warhammer 40K Mickey Mouse. All right, well, so that is coming out, and that's coming from THQ Nordic, like we said. Next up was Shin Megami Tensei 5: Vengeance. I gotta say, well, it's coming out June 21st. I had the hardest time reading the subtitle because of the font that it was in. It looked crazy to me.
I didn't understand if this was because I haven't played Shin Megami Tensei 5, so I didn't understand if this was a side story or like a or like what this was.
I'm also unclear what this is.
It turns out that it's like a remake, not a remake. It's like an expanded version.
Sure,
it's like
your Persona Royal.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know if it's that extreme. Like, I don't know what kind of, because Persona 5 Royal, they made like a lot of quality of life updates and things like that.
Right.
But
Shin Megami Tensei 5 already came out on Switch, right?
It did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a re-release with more stuff.
That's what it seems like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. We don't know anything about Shin Megami Tensei 5, so maybe we shouldn't be talking about it too much. Worth noting here, this is the second Sega and Atlas game that is appearing in the showcase.
After that was Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, which releases very soon on March 15th.
This is Aspyr back doing the only thing that Aspyr does, which is making PlayStation 2 era Star Wars games playable on Switch.
There was a part of me that when I saw this, I got really excited.
Yeah.
Because I like the Star Wars Battlefront games, and the idea of revisiting them is fun. But then I remember that I've bought some of these like Aspyr games, and it's not that they do a bad job. It's just that the
It's
PS1
not
era,
exciting,
like
yeah.
it's a difficult era to revisit.
A lot of these are PS2 era, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, that is true.
Um, yeah, it's I found this little commercial very funny because they were like, play as classic characters like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and others, and it shows General Grievous. It's just like, oh, okay, all right.
I think there was also a part where they were like, for the first time, play as Kit Fisto. And that I was pretty excited about. It's
Yeah,
like,
that is
you
true.
throw a Yaddle in there and I'll definitely buy this.
Yeah. If Yaddle's there, we're there. But no, it is funny when they like. It's like we're about to do a list of cool places you can fight: the Death Star and Boo. You're like, okay, it's 2 places. It's not an impressive list. But yeah, the Battlefront so that's just 2 games, right? It's Battlefront and Battlefront 2.
I think so.
Okay.
But it has like online play and all of
Yeah.
that, which is definitely the calling card of those games.
Do we know if that's coming to other platforms too, or
I
just
have to imagine it is.
Switch? Yeah.
But I don't think we know, or I didn't look it up.
Mm-hmm. Next up was South Park Snow Day, coming out March 26th. This is THQ Nordic again. We have seen this game teased in or shown off in other presentations. Have we seen it in a Nintendo presentation before, or
Not that I can remember.
Okay. They're keeping up the whole like new kid concept, which is from the Ubisoft games, where like you get a like player create a character, and they just call you New Kid the whole time. Although I gotta say, the art style of this game just looks like the South Park game on Nintendo 64. Like these sort of low poly 3D models of the characters. It feels like such a step back from the Ubisoft games where it looks like you're playing an episode of the show. And I understand that since it's like a third person action online shooter in quotes, that you can't use that same graphic style, but it feels like a severe demotion for the series.
After that was Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream, releasing sometime in 2024, coming to us from Bandai Namco.
Let's just keep rolling here. Bandai Namco is also giving us Gundam Breaker 4, coming out at some point in 2024. They showed off a diorama photo mode for this, which, like, once you get your Gundams built the way you want them, you can pose them and take pictures.
Yep, love that. Up next we spent a little bit of time with Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, releasing on June 25th.
I could go for a Banana Rumble right now. It sounds good. This is Sega again, so this is the 3rd Sega game that we're seeing in the showcase. This is a brand new Monkey Ball game. It's not a re-release. It's not a collection. This is new Monkey Ball.
It includes 4-player co-op and 16-player online competitive multiplayer with a race mode, robot smash mode, etc., and so forth.
Robot Smash, perhaps unintentionally a hilarious name for a game mode, for an online game mode. The multiplayer, the like online competitive of this looked a lot like Kirby's Dream Buffet to me. Where it's just like, yep, there's 16 of you rolling around trying to get somewhere before the other ones. Or like Fall Guys, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Which is a compelling style of gameplay, so maybe they will find some success with that.
Okay, this next one is World of Goo 2.
Yes.
And we're just in a Nintendo Wii renaissance.
And a 3DS renaissance, yes. I mean, it's yes. Let's flag here because this is now the second Wii game.
Yeah.
That we're talking about in the in this presentation so
Yeah,
far.
I
We've
think
got
that's
one
right.
more big one.
But
so yeah, here's our second Wii. And World of Goo was one of those like early
WiiWare titles.
Yes, where it was almost like a foreign concept that you could download a game onto your Wii.
And it was the Wii was because it was available, I think, at some point or another on a lot of different platforms.
Yeah.
But the Wii was such a fun platform to play it on because you could use, the pointer controls of the Wiimote. It's crazy to me that there has never been a World of Goo 2 until now.
Yeah.
Because World of Goo came out in 2008.
Right.
Or something.
Yes. I think it was like launch window, right? Like sometime that could be 2008. Yeah.
But yeah, World of Goo 2 coming May 23rd. And I will absolutely buy this.
There we go.
I don't think I beat the original World of Goo, but it was a fun time.
Is this published by Nintendo? Do I have to buy this?
I don't think
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. It's on me to enforce these rules. I know. Next up was Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, which may as well be a Famicom Detective Club game subtitle. The original Fantasy Life game, so this is coming from Level 5. It'll be out on October 10th, which is the furthest flung date that we have on here. And interesting that October 10 is like sort of if we were still expecting the Switch 2 out at some point this year, like does that start to get into when that would have been out? But we don't think that's the case anymore. But the original Fantasy Life was a 3DS game, so here we are swimming in 3DS waters again. So like 3DS and Wii are having like their re-release sequel moment right now.
Do you think that part of it is? Well, I guess
we ran out of Wii U.
We did run out of Wii U, but like Epic Mickey, I guess that one's like a remaster.
Yeah.
And then, but World of Goo,
really more of a rebrush.
And then World of Goo 2 is a new game, and this is a new game. So it's not that they are just like remastering 3DS games, but I don't know what it is about what is happening right now. It just feels like the Switch is where you go to for things that have been released previously. I don't know. It's just it feels like a funky time.
Well, and like it's the things that were released previously that then have just been sort of like dormant for a while, right? Like Epic Mickey, dormant. Fantasy Life, dormant. World of Goo, dormant. Now all these things are back.
Endless Ocean, when we get to it.
Dormant. No spoilers.
This game was announced at the same time as Decapolice, right?
Oh, was it?
Because I feel like we've seen this before.
Yeah,
but now we have a release date for it.
Where's Decapolice?
I think they told us last time we saw it that it wasn't coming until 2025.
Oh, that's a great point. So that'll be on Switch 2 or whatever. Next up was Another Crab's Treasure, coming out on April 25th. This is a game that had been like revealed on previous showcases. I don't think a Nintendo one though.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it in a Nintendo showcase. I thought this looked cute.
Yeah. I'll agree.
I like cute. They call it a crab Souls-like, but I like that I think it's rare that you see a Souls-like.
This is an important point.
That has like a kind of like
sense of humor.
Right.
Yes.
It isn't dark. Like it has a playful energy,
right.
But then is just taking like the like combat ideas from a Souls game and putting it into that world.
Right. It's taking the dark out of Dark Souls.
Yes.
Yeah. And replacing it with a crab. You can upgrade the character by getting different shells that he's in. Usually,
it's a fun idea.
They're different kinds of trash. They also mentioned that you can use powerful umami magic, which that's yes. Yes, thank you. I am interested. Mark me down for one umami magic.
Next up was Penny's Big Breakaway, which is out now.
Today.
And this is from Private Division, which is the team that brought us Sonic Mania. And that is honestly a really good hook for me.
Yeah.
I went into Sonic Mania having never really played a Sonic game before, really, really liking Sonic Mania a lot. And so when Penny's Big Breakaway was revealed last year, I think it was, I was definitely excited for this, and I plan to pick it up for sure.
Yeah, it looks really good. I had not clocked when it was originally revealed how like stylized it sort of is to look like a Sega CD era game, right?
Yeah, I noticed that too more this time.
Yeah,
where I feel like in the little bit we've seen, it's really threading the needle pretty well between having the feeling of a Sega CD game, but still looking like not too retro.
Right. Well, and to your point about Aggro Crab, or what's the name of that game? Another Crab's Treasure, like being bright and colorful and fun. Penny's Big Breakaway is very colorful, has a very like Nights into Dreams sort of aesthetic to it. It seems like it's going to be a colorful, good time just to engage with it.
Yeah, in that way alone, it feels very 90s.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
right.
its color palette.
Next up is the Suika
Suika game.
Suika game, which is always in like the top 10 best-selling Switch games every week.
Yeah, apparently it's a sensation in Japan, and
Yes.
then they released it here, and it has become a sensation worldwide.
It's also a game that is frequently on sale for 99 cents.
Yep, doesn't hurt.
On the Switch. So they're selling a multiplayer expansion pack that's available today as well. It's paid DLC. There's like another online mode that's coming later, but like you can buy the DLC for it now.
Up next is
Have you ever been curious about it, or like even like looked at it, try and figure out what it is?
I
I was trying to parse it out watching the trailer today.
I've never played it, no, but I guess you're right. It is always on sale for 99 cents. I should see what all the hubbub is about.
It looks like there's fruit, and you drop other fruits into those fruits, and there's a fruit evolution chart. So like if you combine 2 grapes, it becomes a watermelon.
Oh, that's funny.
And then like a watermelon and a watermelon, that becomes a blueberry or whatever. That's good math that I'm laying out there. So yeah, it feels like it's that, and so you're just trying to get the best fruits in your jar or whatever.
Amazing.
So I don't know, maybe worth checking out for $1.
Up next was Pepper Grinder, which comes out on March 28th, published by Devolver Digital. It's do you know what the art style reminded me of Ghost Trick a little bit, which is a compliment. That game is very stylish, totally different types of gameplay.
Yes.
But just they both have a very nice like pixel art style. But there's a demo available today.
And I'm definitely gonna check out that demo because the gameplay also seems cool. Like you're burrowing through physical objects with a drill. And yeah, to me the pixel art almost struck a Celeste chord for me. So you know I'm a big dumb sucker for that.
Speaking of big dumb suckers, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On is out today.
Yes.
It's a miracle that we are recording this and not playing it right now.
You don't know that I'm not playing it right now.
You're right. I don't know that.
Yeah, so this is the game where you race horses, and the mechanism by which you control the success of your horse racing is discrete hands of solitaire.
Yep.
It is available on Switch now. Had spent a little time on Apple Arcade in this like Ride On version. And if you are interested in checking it out because the description sounds insane, A, you're right. B, there's a demo. So you can check that out right now.
And another 3DS game.
Another 3DS game. So just take note. Next up, we had a sizzle reel.
Sizzle time.
Sizzle time. We'll just go back and forth on this. Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley.
Tales of Kenzero Zhao.
Demon Slayer. I'm not going to say the subtitle.
Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition.
Contra Operation Galuga.
And then Pentiment, our second Xbox game. Just kind of like dropped in the sizzle reel, February 22nd.
Feels unceremonious for one of the 4 games that caused Xbox to have an absolute meltdown of PR. Then it's just going to appear in the sizzle reel of a Nintendo partner showcase.
Yeah, I know. It is kind of nuts.
Pentiment I'm very interested in. I'm going to be picking it up and playing it because it looks beautiful and is an esoteric piece of like video game storytelling. So
I thought it looked really cool too. I guess it's out now. So
oh yeah, February 22nd. That's yes, that is now. So I'm gonna go pick it up. Isn't it crazy that they had that podcast last week and already this week Pentiment is coming out on Switch? It's so quick.
Yeah, it is crazy.
They were just ready to go, I guess.
Well, and maybe that is a point to like what we were talking about earlier, and you're like, it doesn't make sense that they would delay a Nintendo Direct because that means they would also have to delay
release dates. Yeah,
all of these like surprise drops.
Yeah.
So yeah, that feels less likely.
And then a true, especially for what is billed as a partner showcase, a true curveball in the form of here are a series of rare games coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
As in, like, Rare developed.
Yes, that's right. Studio that is currently owned by Xbox, but used to be owned by Nintendo and made a bunch of Nintendo NES, Super NES, and Nintendo 64 games. And so here are the games that are out on these various platforms right now. For the NES, there's Snake, Rattle, and Roll. There is RC Pro-Am, which is a game that looms large in my NES fan memory. From the Super NES, Battletoads in Battlemaniacs and Killer Instinct. Crazy to see these things on Nintendo service. And then for the Nintendo 64, Blast Core.
Yeah, I thought that it was fun the way that they presented this as like, here's just a bunch of Rare developed games.
Yes.
We're just dropping them all. It's a partner showcase and just this continued kind of like a relationship between, kind of like friendly relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo, where they're competing for people's time, but seemingly don't really see each other as competitors in like the same way that Microsoft and Sony do.
Right. Yes. I gotta say, it is an odd collection of 5 games.
Feels right for a Nintendo Switch Online drop.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you started up by being like, here, so this is gonna be Nintendo Switch Online. Here's the Rare logo. You're like, finally, okay, here we go. We are gonna get Donkey Kong 64. We are gonna get Diddy Kong Racing. We don't, and we don't. Also, we get a Battletoads game, but the Battletoads game that we get is the Super NES Battletoads and Battlemaniacs, which came out like, I would say the moment for Battletoads was when Battletoads came out on the NES.
I did not even know a Super Nintendo game existed.
I mean, there's that, and there's Battletoads and Double Dragon.
That one I did know existed.
Well, I have a copy of it, so maybe you played it at my house. I've never owned a copy of Battlemaniacs, so I'm very excited to play it. Maybe that'll be our next NCS Arcade. Who knows? Probably not. Mark is shaking his head politely, but I don't think he's actually interested.
No, I think we'll take a break from Rare developed games.
That's a great call.
After Jet Force Gemini.
That is a great call. But I mean, I'm also excited. I don't even know what Snake, Rattle, and Roll's deal is. RC Pro-Am, I'm definitely interested in checking out again. Killer Instinct sort of busted for being like a Super NES game. It was interesting in the arcade, but like really stripped down for the Super NES. So this is cool and strange, but all it does is make me yearn for future announcements that I feel like this paves the way for.
Right. I mean, unless there's some terrible relationship breakdown between Microsoft and Nintendo, in which case we're like, why couldn't it have been like Diddy Kong Racing instead of Blast Core?
Yes. But also like Diddy Kong Racing, that's Nintendo's game to put out. Like, I know Rare developed it, but it
has Rare developed characters in it.
It does have Rare
there
characters.
Must be some.
That's true.
I mean, because Rare was never fully owned by Nintendo.
Right.
And so I just feel like there must be a reason why all of this stuff is happening in conjunction with Microsoft.
Yes.
Like, there must be some rights thing where Nintendo can't just like release some of these games whenever they want. Would be my guess.
That makes sense for me for Diddy Kong Racing, but Donkey Kong 64?
Yeah, no, it's true.
I mean, they invented basically all those Kongs, all the non-Donkeys Kong, but like they've put out the Donkey Kong Country games.
Right.
And seemingly that's been no big deal.
Well, they stepped those out over a while, too.
No, I guess they did make a big deal about them. I'm saying it wasn't, I guess we don't know. Maybe it was a huge fight for them to be able to do it.
Speaking of like making a big deal out of it, I also feel like these Rare developed games got a almost like special place of honor in the presentation.
They absolutely
where
did.
You have the sizzle reel, and then they're like, hey, we have 2 more announcements.
Yes. We have 2 more One Big Things.
And the first one
yes,
is these Rare developed games
right,
coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
Which normally when they put like 4 or 5 games on Nintendo Switch Online, it is a tweet, with a little video attached. So yeah, they're rolling out the red carpet for this. It had been a while since the last time we got something on Nintendo Switch Online, so I'm glad always happy to update that spreadsheet and just get more data as their decisions actually get weirder as we go. Should we take this opportunity to talk about what the Japanese Nintendo Switch Online
Yeah, sure.
got? So Mother 3 is on its way to the Game Boy Advance library for Nintendo Switch Online in Japan. And Nintendo also used that opportunity to reveal some like plushies for Mother 3 that that they've never sold products like that before. So Mark, let the speculation begin. What does that mean for when we're going to see Mother 3? Are we going to see Mother 3? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like it is the easiest way people probably have now to legally get Mother 3.
Sure.
Because if you subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online, you can just create a a Japanese Nintendo Switch Online account, and you don't have to pay again. You just switch to that account in your on your Nintendo Switch, and then you can download the
same libraries,
yeah,
but
like the Game
Japanese
Boy Advance
version.
library, and have it include Mother 3. Of course, it's all in Japanese,
Right.
so unless you speak and read Japanese, you won't be able to translate it. But that's interesting that it's like that available. But I feel like I just never say never. But I don't think anytime soon we're going to see Mother 3.
Right. There are a couple ways or a couple examples of Nintendo releasing games on the Famicom version of these, Joy Mecha Fight and Mysterious Murasame Castle. Both originally came out, or originally on Switch, came out just on the Japanese NSO, but came over to North American NSO years later. The other kind of big example, and this is one that would be a lot more like what they would have to do for Mother 3, is the original Fire Emblem game on NES, or on Famicom. It was part of their NSO, but they sold it as a separate download in North America, and is, fully translated, even has a couple quality of life things where you can like rewind time and stuff like that. So it's, that at the time felt like a thing that would never happen. And Mother 3 is like another level of will never happen, but it's still like, this doesn't feel like a nail in the coffin for like, well, I saw a lot of that today. People being like, well, it's never coming to North America. And I'm like, this is just another point of data.
Forever is a very long time.
Such a long time.
Do you think that if they brought it over, because when they released the first game in the Mother series during the Wii era, it showed up on WiiWare, and
was it Wii or Wii U?
Oh, I want to say it was Wii, but I could be
Checking it
wrong.
out. Well, you talk.
But didn't they call it Earthbound Origins?
Earthbound Beginnings. I believe.
Earthbound Beginnings. Yeah. So do you think if Mother 3 ever comes over, they'll call it like Earthbound again, or like
Earthbound 2?
Yeah.
Just to be wholly confusing. I don't know. I wonder if the branding of Mother 3 is strong enough that they're just like, no, it's fine.
No, that's true. For like the people who would care about it, you could just call it Mother 3. Although I don't hate the idea of them calling it Earthbound 2, because it'd be such a great throwback to when like Final Fantasies were named.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different all over the place, and we had Dragon Warrior and Dragon Quest.
Okay, looking it up here. Mother was re-released in Japan on a single cartridge, Mother 1 plus Mother 2 for Game Boy Advance. Blah 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 blah. No, I mean I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but like release. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll never know. It's like the end of a 433. Well, very interesting. I hope we find out more about what the future of Mother 3 is at some point, but we may never.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the true one last big thing is,
I think you're right. I think it was the Wii U.
Yes. I couldn't find the information, but I had it in my brain. The final one big thing is, we've teased it a couple times, Endless Ocean, Luminous.
Never played either of the Endless Ocean games.
Me neither.
From the Wii era. And I feel like they have a strong reputation as really cool, like kind of chill out games.
Right. Yes. Possibly in an era before we properly appreciated chill out games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it comes out on May 2nd. It says that the undersea areas change with each dive, which implies to me that there's some procedurally generated oceans going on here. And you can play with up to 30 players exploring one space at a time, which is interesting.
It is interesting. I'm wondering if it's almost like a journey like thing where you're you know
Yeah.
experiencing the world by yourself, and then you just see like another diver, but that other diver is
Has a name. And
and is like an actual person who's playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these games are like not action-y at all,
I
right?
don't
Like you're
think
not
so.
fighting fish.
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think they really are, and maybe there are parts of it where it's like you're in the deep ocean and there's maybe some scary fish. Like I really don't know, but I think for the most part it's just a like fun kind of like relaxing ocean exploration experience.
Yeah. Well, and this relaxing ocean exploration experience coming back to Switch.
Yeah, after a long time, and so yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, the first two games were developed by Eureka, which is a company that's worked with Nintendo a lot. In addition to Tetris 99, they did Super Mario Brothers 35. They worked on Pac-Man 99. Plus, they have developed like a bunch of other games. And
So they've got that like online pedigree as well.
yeah, I guess that's true. They have that online pedigree, but they also have that like relationship with Nintendo, which makes me think that this is maybe the one that is published by Nintendo on this list. Maybe Pocket Card Jockey. I can't remember if that was Nintendo published on but it wasn't on the.
It wasn't on
iPhone,
Apple. Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
Yeah, so probably not here.
Yeah, weird for Game Freak. Every now and then they published Little Town Hero as well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, it happens, but it's just weird. Like poor little Game Freak has to publish a game all by itself. Yeah, so I'll check out Endless Ocean, probably because I legally have to, and it sounds like Mark is as well. What are your any other like broad takeaways from this direct partner showcase?
It's interesting because in watching it, I was like, oh, that's a pretty good showing. In talking about the games, there's not a ton on here that I plan to pick up.
Right. I mean, you get Toads and Battlemaniacs for free. This is part of the thing you're already paying for.
Yeah. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, no, I would say that there's, and I felt this as I was watching it, where I was like, there's not a ton here that I'm like super interested in that I haven't known about already. Like Penny's Big Breakaway seems like it'll probably be fun. I have been interested in it for a while. Ditto, Unicorn Overlord, Overlord. I think it's Unicorn Overlord is what I'm guessing.
Yes, Overlord.
Okay, great. But yeah, like for me, the big surprises that I'm like very positive on is that the Nintendo Switch Online, the rare games coming to that.
I was also surprised that Grounded was one of the games that was coming
Yes.
to Switch, and that it wasn't Hi-Fi Rush or something like that.
Hi-Fi Rush. So Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are both now slated for PlayStation releases, PlayStation 4/5, which does feel like, oh, that's a missed opportunity to get Hi-Fi Rush on Switch.
There was a rumor that it was planned for Switch, and there was that data mining
Right.
of like a shirt that seemed an in-game shirt that seemed
Oh
to
yeah,
indicate
right. Yes.
that it was coming to Switch. But so there was the rumor it was coming to Switch, and then a few weeks ago there was the rumor that it at one point was in development for Switch but got canceled because it couldn't run well on the system.
Yeah. That
So
makes
maybe
sense.
that's what happened.
And then that Sea of Thieves is also going to be on PlayStation, which marks the first time that a Rare developed game is going to be released on a PlayStation platform.
Wow, they've done it all.
Isn't that crazy?
Now Sega just needs to create another console.
That's right. Let's get
And Atari.
Right?
Let's
Yeah.
Let's get them on, everybody.
Look, we can get like a Dreamcast version of Star Fox Adventures. Took me a long time to find those specifics. So a very just another thing to point out in the little trailer for the Rare games, There's a splash screen at the end that shows like a field of stars, and then like the game boxes appear in like constellations. There are a handful of other constellations of stars that have like outlines, gold outlines around them, just like the boxes do, but there's no game in those boxes.
Interesting.
So, is that just that's how you design something digitally, that you're copying and pasting stuff? Possibly. Do they plan to announce future games from Rare in this same way? Also possible.
Yeah, that is interesting.
They got to put the original Battletoads on there, right?
Well, but isn't that game famously broken in 2-player?
Yes.
So maybe that is
cannot be beaten in 2-player.
So maybe that's a reason why they won't, especially because the online part of Nintendo Switch Online
is so important.
Part of what they
There's
do.
a Game Boy one. They could put the Game Boy one out there.
They've got to put out. It's like Tarot or something. One of the early Rare developed games for the NES that is just like a card reading simulator.
I mean, there are a lot of games that they got to put out, not least of which, of course, are Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing. All right. Any other takeaways from this? Interesting showcase.
Interesting showcase. Yeah. I feel like my mind kind of reels at what the fact that we're getting a partner showcase in February means for the rest of Nintendo's year.
Sort of a late February showcase as well. And, we talked about all the various reasons that it may have been delayed out of like a more reasonable time frame. But yeah, like, there's rumors now of there being an Indie World showcase coming in the next like month or two. And then new hardware, revealed in like May or June or something. So yeah, I mean, it is starting to feel like we are like genuinely in end days for the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have the Pokemon Presents.
Yes, that's right.
Presumably something for this year will be at least one thing for Switch will be revealed this year.
At least one thing.
Presumably,
just give me one thing.
Presumably,
yeah.
But then
and celebrating the 4.5-year anniversary of multiple mobile games, that also has to happen.
And then you have games that have already been announced by Nintendo that aren't dated, or maybe it's just the one. Are we really down to?
No, it's Luigi's Mansion 2 and Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, that's right. So we have 2.
Right, that aren't dated, and then of course Princess Peach Showtime we know comes out in March.
So maybe that gets us to June, and they have some sort of June presentation for the end of the year, or maybe
that June presentation could also be for the Switch 2 coming out in February or whatever.
Yeah,
a year from now. And then we're just like in the desert for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the February Direct not being a full Nintendo Direct is a combo breaker.
Yeah.
Now we can't reliably depend on a February Direct.
Combo breaker. That's a Killer Instinct reference right there. A game that we've talked about already in this partner showcase. I do think so. We'll talk about it more next week, but the Pokemon Presents, the trailer for the Pokemon Presents is playing like the Game Boy music with like sounding like a Game Boy. So it makes me wonder if Pokemon Company is finally getting to the place where they are going to put those games on
Nintendo Switch Online.
Oh,
interesting.
Because there are few ways to boost like Nintendo sales, like putting classic Pokemon games on a platform.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So like if they've got nothing else, if they have desperately delayed this thing out of the year, like that's a solve. That's a genuine solve.
And I believe, Endless Ocean, maybe not developed by Nintendo, but published by Nintendo. It would not surprise me if we see additional games of this caliber or that sort of arrangement.
Sure.
Like, I can't remember if it was on the show or just you and I talking, because 90% of our conversations about Nintendo anyways, that, could it be, are we due for another Musou game?
Right.
That's maybe set in the Tears of the Kingdom world, or, like another Zelda Musou or something else that's developed by Bandai Namco, right? Like, so there are still cards that they could play that it's not going to be...
Koei Tecmo,
thank you. It's not going to be like the blockbuster new 2D Mario game or something, but I anticipate we'll get additional Nintendo
I agree with
releases
this. Yeah.
through the rest of the year.
Yeah, we'll get smaller games. Perhaps a weird year for me to commit to buying everything they put out.
Hope you love 3DS and Wii games.
I mean, I do. So, look, as long as they put out a re-release of Wii Music, I'm a happy camper.
That would be so amazing. No, that was our big complaint with Wii U is we couldn't share
Yes.
the stuff that we were making.
Yes.
And if you could do that, they've done it with Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch Music. It's time. Look, Miyamoto
Yes.
was a big booster for Pikmin,
Mhm.
and that franchise has found its feet. It's time
Yes.
for him to return to the Wii Music
There we go.
and make that game the
I mean, honestly,
success it deserves.
Could have been. Look, we had a great afternoon playing Wii Music and then never thought about it again. But like, if all of your Wii remotes are in fact Joy-Cons and therefore have the motion tracking capabilities of Wii Motion Plus, like you can probably get a better performance out of like all of those instruments, right? Like that was one of the issues
Yep.
with Wii Music. Okay, all right, this is the new rumor. This is the new thing that we want.
Let's get this ball rolling.
Let's get this ball rolling. Nintendo Switch Music. All right, Mark, we've talked about this presentation and then some. Let's close this out. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much to our 16-bit patrons, Connor McCabe, Patrice Millette, David Henley, Alias X, and Kyle Seaborn. We appreciate you all so much. We appreciate everyone who is part of the Patreon or listening to the show or in the Discord or any combination of those things. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you would like to be in the Discord, all you got to do is send us an email and I will send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.